Hello guys, and welcome to lab number 6 for our Azure administration study series. So for this lab we're going to look at network traffic management, right? And as always, before you begin this lab, make sure you go to the link below this video and download all the required files for this lab. So for you to fully complete this lab, you definitely need all the lab's files. Now let's look at the lab objectives. For task 1, we're going to provision a lab environment. So for this lab, we will set up 3 virtual networking: VNet 1, VNet 2, and VNet 3. For task 2, we configure hub and spoke network topology, set up a local peering between VNet 1 and VNet 2, and another local peering between VNet 1 and VNet 3. For task 3, we will test the transitivity of the virtual network peering. So we will demo the traffic flow from VNet 1 to VNet 2, and another one from VNet 1 to VNet 3. Then we will attempt to send traffic from VNet 2 to VNet 3. For task 4, we will configure routing in the hub and spoke topology. So we will attach a routing table next to VNet 2 and another routing table to VNet 3. And then we will try sending traffic all over from VNet 2 through VNet 1 to VNet 3. For task 5, we will implement Azure Load Balancer. And for task 6, we're going to implement application gateway. So now to begin the lab, you need to first of all navigate to portal.azure.com and sign in. Once you sign in, you'll be presented with a dashboard. On the dashboard, click on this icon here, which is the Cloud Shell, and this will open up either the PowerShell or the Bash. So if this open up in Bash, click on this icon here and select PowerShell. So once you're in the PowerShell, we're going to upload files that we're going to use to build our lab environment. This is part of the lab files that you downloaded. So to do this, click on this icon here, the upload button here, and then navigate to labs. So once you are in the file, you probably will see all files, and then click on labs, and you'll get into this directory. For this lab is lab number 6, so we select 06 here and then upload the files required for this lab. So for this lab, we require the parameter, the loop VMS loop parameter. So we click open, and this will open up, and then we will upload the other one as well. So we click on upload, and the other one is loop template. We'll click that and select that. Then we need to create a location where we're going to build our lab environment. So essentially where we're going to install our virtual machines. So let's create a variable for this location. So to do this, we create location variable, and then we're going to put this one in East US. And then let's create another variable for our resource group. So let's do a $RG name equal to AZ104-06-RG1. Yep, that should do. And let's run the command to create this. AZ resource group, and then let's give the name. So the name for this resource group is $RG name, and the location is $location. All right, so that should do the trick. All right, here we go. So once you're sorted with that, we're now going to use the files we download to build the lab environment. To do so, let's go to the lab instructions. So let's go here, and then if you go to step number 6, you see the code to build this environment. So I'm just going to copy the code and go back to Azure and paste it right in here. So essentially this code will build the lab environment from scratch, and it will have all the resources that we actually need. So let's do it. It might take some time to complete. Okay, so it looks like I got a message here that the deployment validation failed. So let's see the error message that came up. So looking at the message, it looks like it couldn't find the resource group. So let's go and check the resource group and see why it couldn't find it, because we have the resource group created here. So now let's see the command that was run here. So a new is a resource group and name. Okay, so I had a hyphen here, which, yeah, so that's where the problem is. So now let's create the resource group again and then run the command again. So I'm just going to copy this, I'll paste it here, and then I'll take away that and run the command. Okay, so that's done successfully. So let's rerun this command that we copied from the lab manual, and here you go, it's going through successfully. So now the deployment has been done successfully. So the next thing we need to do is to add a network watcher extension to all the VMs in this deployment. So to do so, what we're going to do is just going to navigate back to the lab manual, and when we check option 7, we'll copy the code here, and let's go back to the portal and paste it there. So essentially for this code, what it's going to do is it's going to deploy a network watcher agent to all the VMs. So for each VMs in this environment, it's going to add this network watcher agent. So let's run the code. Okay, so task 1 is completed. Let's close down this Cloud Shell and go to our resource group. And okay, so I have to here. So essentially this is the one I made a mistake. You see the hyphen in front of it, so I'll click the one here. So this is the resource that we got. So we have all the resource in here, right? Everything that we need. So what we're going to do is we're just going to do lab number 2. In this task, we'll configure lookup pairing between the virtual network that was deployed in a previous task in order to create a hub and spoke network topology. So to start, let's go to network. So let's just type in network here and click on virtual networks. All right, just as you can see here, these are the virtual networks we have. We got VNet 1, VNet 2, and also VNet number 3. Now let's select VNet 2 and let's check the properties. So on the properties, where is it? Yeah, there you go, on the properties. Now let's copy the resource ID. So this is the resource ID here. Just gonna copy that one and I'll paste this one in a notepad. And let's do the same for resource number 3. Copy that and paste it here. Okay, so now let's click on VNet 1 and set up the pairing. So let's go to pairing and click add, and let's fill in the details. So this pairing will be between the VNet 1 to VNet 2. So let's give it a name of this 06 VNet 1 to AZ104-06 VNet VNet 2. Okay, so for traffic to remote network, we allow that through. And let's see, for traffic forwarding, I'll set that one to block. And for we're not going to set the gateway, so we leave that one as none. And then we give the remote virtual network a name. So this will be AZ104-06 VNet. So this is 2 AZ104-06 VNet 1. So I'll make this one 01. And see the one at the top. The one at the top, I'll make this one also 01. Just to keep the naming scheme. Alright, so for the resource, the virtual network deployment, I'll leave that as a resource manager. And since I know the resource ID, we're going to utilize that one. So I'll enable that one, and then I will copy the ID for number VNet 2 and paste that one in here. Okay, for the allow network, I'll leave that one as allow. Forward, I'll leave that one as allow, and then for the gateway is none, and then we click on add. Okay, this is done successfully. It didn't really take that long. That's great. Okay, so now let's add another appearance. So click on add, and this time will be VNet 1 to VNet 3. So the same naming convention, 104-06 VNet 01 to AZ104-06 VNet 3. Okay, and this one, the traffic to remote virtual network allow, and traffic forwarding, that one I'll set out to block. And for the gateway, I'll set as none. And for the virtual, for the remote virtual network, I'll give that one a name as AZ104-06 VNet 3 to AZ104-06 VNet 01. And for the virtual network deployment, I'll leave that one as resource manager, and I know the resource ID, so I'll check this one and then go to our notepad and copy the resource ID for VNet 3, and I'll paste it in here. And for traffic to remote virtual network, I'll leave that one as allow. And for the traffic forwarding, I'll leave that one as allow as well. And for the gateway, I'll leave that one as none and click add. Okay, so that is established successfully. It's showing connected for both. So this complete lab number 2. So we move on to lab number 3. For lab number 3, we're going to test the transitivity of the virtual network peering. So to do this, we're just going to use network watcher. So we just have to type in network watcher here, and we click on network watcher, and we need to go to the connection troubleshooting under the network diagnostic tools. So you click on connection troubleshooting here, and then we have to now configure this one to allow the test. So the resource, you have to select the right subscription, and then for the resource group, you're just going to leave it as it is, resource group 1, and the source type will be a virtual machine, and we're going to utilize the VM0, so that one we leave it as it is. Right, so for the destination, we need to specify the destination, so I'll select that one, and for the destination that we're going to use will be 10.62.0.4. okay, and the protocol TCP, that's fine, and we use RDP port 3389, and that's about it. So once you've configured as I have it here, you just click on check. This will take a while to complete. So the test is done successfully, and as you can see the results here, it shows that it's reachable, and you can see the hop as well, just one hop to get to that resource. So now we're just going to run another test and see how that one goes. So the same methodology again. I'm just going to click on overview just to move away from this page and click back to the connection troubleshoot, and now let's run through this again. So in terms of this one, we're still going to utilize the same resource group of RG1, and then it's going to be VM0, and for the IP address, that's where we make some changes. So we select specify manually, and then we would now point this one to 10.63.0.4, and we leave the protocol as TCP and specify the RDP port again and click on check. Okay, so this one is also reachable, as you can see right there. So essentially this address here of 10.63.0.4 represent the private IP address of our VM3, which is on the VNet 3, and the first one we did is actually on VNet 2. So both are reachable successfully. So now we're just going to perform another test which shouldn't be reachable. So once again, we click away from the connection troubleshooting, and we go into the connection troubleshooting again, and we're just going to use the same resource group. Right, so the changes that we're going to make is that the virtual machine, instead of using the VM0, this time we're going to use VM2, because we're going to pin from VM2, which is on the VNet 2, and we're going to pin the VM which is located on VNet 3, and this is expected to fail essentially. So once you select that, we specify the IP address of the VM on VNet 3, the same protocol and 3389, and we click on check again. So as expected, this test failed because there's no direct connection or pairing between VNet 2 and VNet 3. So that's why it failed. Now what we're going to do in the next task is that we're going to configure routing in a hub and spoke topology. All right, so let's get to it. Right, so in this task, we're going to configure and test routing between the two spoke virtual network by enabling IP forwarding on a network interface of the VM0 virtual machine. Right, so to start, let's go to that VM. So let's just go to virtual machine and select VM0. And then under VM0, let's click on networking, and let's click on that interface NIC address here, and click on IP configuration, and then we need to enable the IP forwarding right here. So we turn this one to enable and then save it. There you go, it's done successfully. let's navigate back to the VM0. So now on VM0, let's go to the operation session and click on run command. So once we have this, we need to click on the run PowerShell script, and we need to run a command. To get a command, let's go to the manual. So if you go to the manual here, and under lab number 4, we should see the command that we're going to run. So let's scroll down. So this is lab number 4, and as you can see here, this is the command we need to run here. So let's copy the first command, go back to Azure and paste that command in here and run that command. This will take a while to complete. Okay, so the command has been run successfully. So now let's go back to the manual and copy the last set of commands here. So copy these commands. So essentially, these commands are going to create the routing. So let's go back, and then also it will enable the forwarding as well. So these are all part of the steps to enable the IP forwarding. So now let's go back to here. So I'm just going to clear this one here and paste the new set of commands and click on run. Okay, so the script has been executed successfully. So the next thing we need to do is to create a root table. So to do this, just type in root table and let's click on add. Okay, let's put that into the same resource group. So we select the region, so we have it in East US, and we can give this one a name as AZ104-06-RT23. All right, we'll leave this one as no. Do not propagate the gateway, and then we can review it now. Okay, validation passed successfully, and then we can create it. So let's go to the resource now. So now we are in the routing table. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to create a new route. So under settings, click on route and click on add. Okay, so let's give the route a name. So AZ104-06-route-vnet to VNet 3. Okay, and for the address prefix, that will be 10.63.0.0/20, and we'll select virtual appliance, and we'll put in the IP address of 10.60, the VM in VNet 0, 10.60.0.4 as the next hop, and that's it. We click on OK. Okay, so now it should show up momentarily. Subnet 0. So let's click on subnet, associate, drop this one down, and that will be in VNet 2. Where is VNet 2? And then subnet 0. Let's navigate back to the routing table. So let's type in root and let's create a new routing table here. So let's click on add. Let's put in the same resource group, and this one will be East US, and let's give it a name as AZ1406, and then our T322, and the same thing, no, review, and create. Okay, let's go into the resource, click on routes, and let's add a new route. So this one is from VNet 3, so AZ 104-03 0-06, and then let's define the route VNet 3 to VNet 2. Okay, and the network will be 10.62.0.0/20, and this will be virtual appliance, and the net hop will also be the same as 10.60.0.4, and then we click on OK. Okay, so now click on subnet, associate, select the VNet 3 and select the VNet 3 subnet of subnet 0 and click OK. Let's check the connectivity again under the network watcher to see if we will be able to now connect the two spoke networks. So let's go back to network watcher, and then we will need to actually let's verify that the network watcher is enabled on our region. It is enabled, so let's go into connection troubleshooting, and then let's run a test again. So let's select VM2, and now we're just going to connect to the resource in the VNet 3. So select this and define the address in VNet 3, 10.63.0.4 TCP, and then 3389. Now let's run a check. Okay, so as you can see here, this is now reachable, and this is expected behavior since the traffic between the spoke virtual network is now routed via the virtual machine located in the hub virtual network. Okay, so I mean essentially that one is functioning as a route. So this completes our task number 4. So we're going to move to task number 5, and this will be implementing Azure Load Balancer. Right, so in this task we will implement Azure Load Balancer in front of the two Azure virtual machines in a hub virtual network. To do this, let's search for Load Balancer and click on Add. Alright, let's create a new resource for this load balancer. Let's give it a name as AZ104-06-RG4 and click OK. Alright, so we're going to deploy this one in East US, and we'll leave the type as public and the skill as standard. We'll create a new public IP address for this. So let's give the public IP address a name. So this will be AZ104-06-public IP4. And let's scroll down no IPv6. For the availability zone, we will say no zone, and I think we're good to go. So let's review what we have in here. So we got a resource group. Actually, we didn't give it a name, so we need to give this one a name as AZ104-06-LB4. Okay, that should do it. Okay, so that looked okay to me. So let's review and create. Okay, validation pass, then click on create. Okay, so the resource has been deployed successfully. Let's go to the resource, and under settings, let's click on the backend pool and add the backend pool. So let's click on add, and let's give the backend pool a name as AZ104-06-LB4-BE1. And for the network, we need to select a VNet 01, PV4, and let's add a machine. So we add the VM0, and let's click on add again, and add VNet 1 as well. Once you have the two in the pool, let's click on add. Okay, so this has been created successfully, and we can see that both devices are running. Right, so we need to create a help probe just to ensure that we can monitor our resources. So let's go ahead and click on help probe and click on add. Give the help probe a name as AZ104-06-LB4-help probe 1, and TCP 85 intervals into that's good enough for us. So let's click on add. Okay, so the help probe has been created successfully. Right, so we need to now add a rule. So to do this, let's click on the load balancer rules and click on add. Let's give this a name as AZ104-06-LB4-LB rule 1, and we'll leave the version as IPv4, protocol as okay. So for the front IP address, let's drop this one down and select the IP address for our front end, and the protocol, we leave that one as TCP. And for the port, we'll set this as port 80, and the backend port will be the same as well, port 80. For our backend pool, we select the pool we created, and help probe, we select help probe we created as well. For session persistent, I'll leave that one as none. Ideal timeout 4 is okay with me. And we'll leave the TCP reset as disable and floating IP address as disable, and click on add. Okay, so the resource has been created successfully. Now let's click on overview so we can copy the public IP address so we can test our load balancer. So we copy the public IP address, and we can check this one. Open up a new tab, paste this one in there, and here we go. We can see that it's connecting to VM1. Now let's see if we can open up a new tab in incognito and paste it in there again. And here you have it. This one connected to VM0 and the first one connected to VM1. So you can see that both of them are working. The load balancer seems to be working fine. So let me close this one down. So now we've completed task number 5. So now let's go to task number 6. So task number 6 is implementing Azure Application Gateway. In this task, we will implement Azure Application Gateway in front of the 2 Azure virtual machines in the Spoke virtual network. Right, to start with this, let's first of all create a subnet for this. So let's go to network. So where's virtual networks? And then let's select VNet 01 and click on subnets. And under subnet, let's click on new subnet. We will give this a name as subnet-app gateway. And we'll define an IP range of 10.60.3.224/27. Okay, that should do. And then we click on save. Okay, so this is created successfully. Right, so once this is created, let's go to the application gateway tab. So application gateway, and let's click on add. Okay, so I'm just going to define the settings. So we will create a new resource group for this. We name it as AZ104-06-RG5. Okay, so we'll leave this one into East US. And let's give this a name as AZ104-06-App Gateway 5. Okay, so we leave it here as standard v2 and with auto scaling. No, we leave the auto scaling as none. It's here with the HTTP2. Okay, so under configuration of virtual networking, let's select VNet 01. And we'll select the subnet we created for our application gateway. Now let's click next to the front end. Okay, so under the front end, we will leave this one as public for the IP address, and for the firewall public IP address, we will need to create a new one. So we're just going to click on new, and let's give this a name as AZ104-06 and then hyphen public IP 5. Okay, so now let's proceed to the backend. The backend, we need to add a new backend pool. So we click on add a backend pool, and then we need to give this a name. So this will be 104.06 hyphen app gateway 5 hyphen back E1 backend 1. And for add backend pool without target, I will set that one as no. And for the target type, IP and FQDN, I'll set the type as 10.62.0.4, and I'll add another one as 10.63.0.4. Okay, so I think that should do, and let's click on add. So we got to target in there. Okay, that's good. So now let's click on next configuration, and now let's add a routing rule. So to do this, let's click on add a routing rule, and let's give this one a name. And then the listener name will be AZ104-06-app gateway 5 resource listener 1 RL1. Okay, so the listener name, we'll give that one to AZ104-06-app W5 minus RL1 L1. Right, so the front-end IP address will select public, and then we leave this one as HTTP, and the port will be 80. We leave it as 80, and the listener type we leave that one as basic. Error page we leave this one as no. And now let's switch to the backend target. So for the backend target, let's select the backend resource we created. And for the HTTP settings, what we do is, let's create a new one. And let's define these values for these settings here. Is it 104-06-app gateway 5 HTTP TTP1, and we will leave the backend protocol as HTTP, and we leave the port as 80, and disable the cookie based infinity, and the connection draining is also disabled. We leave the request timeout to 20 seconds. That should be fine, and the rest of the settings are good. Right, so now let's click on add. Okay, so we got that one there, and we'll add this one as well. Click on add, and let's click on next tags, and let's click on review plus create. Okay, validation passed successfully. Let's create the resource. So it's all done now, and this process actually took approximately 8 minutes to complete. So just bear in mind that when you're creating this, it might take a bit of time. So let's go to the resource now. Okay, and let's click on this. Now let's copy the front end public IP address, and we can run a test. So I'm just going to copy that now, and let's open up a new tab and paste this one in there. There you go. So hello world, and this one is connected to the VM2. So now let's open a new tab in incognito and paste this one in here. Okay, let's refresh. There you go. So as you can see from here, the first one connected to VM2, and the other one actually connected to VM3. So this complete our lab. So let's go back to our lab here. So we successfully set up the application gateway, and it's working as intended. So if you managed to get to the end of this lab, congratulations, we managed to finish up lab number 6. So once again, thank you for watching, and I hope you did have a wonderful time, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.